What's up, TW fans? Jake here, back with another week of What's New Tackle Warehouse. Some of the guys are sick, so I'm filling in this week. So today, we got a bunch of different baits. This first one here is from Daiwa. This is the Daiwa Prorex Bessie 170. This is a large profile bait. This is actually made for muskie fishing. They built this bait in collaboration with Nasheen Lure Works. If you know anything about Nasheen baits, he makes some awesome stuff, and he spends a ton of time testing, developing, like tearing everything apart, putting it back together, and really honing in the fine points of these baits. So you know when you're getting something that's got his stamp on it, it's going to be quality and ready to rock. So if it looks familiar, this is actually kind of a bigger model of the Nasheen Abino bait. And it's a large bait. It comes in a couple different sink rates, so you can get a floating, a slow sink, or a fast sink. And this thing's just going to cause a bunch of disturbance. So it's got these two oversized props on the front. So if you're reeling this thing across the surface, it's going to, spit and churn and spray a bunch of water. And then that big blade on there on the bottom, it makes this thing rock side to side and just, flash. It adds some flash itself and just makes a bunch of commotion. I've actually used some of the Nasheen baits that have that design on there, and it really makes that bait rock back and forth. Now, if you're looking for something bigger, if you're a muskie angler, this is what it's made for, but we all know bass will hit these big baits, especially this time of the year. So if you're looking for a big topwater, coming up here early summer is one of the better times to throw those big topwaters like a lunker punker or something like that. This is something you can throw in the arsenal and you're going to get those big bites. It's got HD trebles on it, front and back. You're going to be able to fish this thing right out of the package. They've got some outstanding colors on them. And then the lifelike detailing. If you look at them up close with the 3D eye, the gill plates, all those scales, and the paint jobs alone, these are phenomenal baits. Looking for something big to throw at them and get the biggest fish around, fired up, and get a bite. That's going to be one you want to check out. If you're not into the big baits, looking for something a little more standard, a little more traditional, Arc's got you covered with their new Team Arc Alpha Z silent squarebill crankbait. This is one of the sweetest designed squarebills I've seen in a while, and I get to see a lot of squarebills. This is their new 1.5 model. We actually have the 2.5. Should be here any day. By the time this airs, the 2.5 should be in stock if they're not already, or it'll just be a few days for them to get here. So this little squarebill, really, really buoyant. So it bounces off cover and deflects and, skirts off to the side, exactly what you want in a squarebill. A lot of the Arc Pro staffers, including Randall Tharp, had a hand in designing this thing, and they tested it and tuned it over a long period of time just to make it just right. Another key feature of this squarebill is the circuit board lip. Not only does it get it down, quickly, it cuts through the water a lot easier than the wide plastic bills, but it's going to be more sensitive, so you're going to have better feedback. Whenever you contact something with that circuit board, it's just going to send a better transmission up to your line so you know what you're coming into contact with, and it's more durable than plastic lips. Everyone's thrown a squarebill up and just a little too far, hit the bank, broke that bill on it, you ruined the whole bait. These are a lot more durable and impact resistant, so you can speed reel them into rocks and stuff like that. You won't have any problems. Right out of the package, it comes with some Teflon coated trebles that are nasty, sticky sharp. Be careful when you take them out of the package. I almost stuck myself, and they got a great shape to them. They're kind of like an in-between of like a triple grip and a round bend, so a really cool hook on there. Ready to fish right out of the box. You don't have to mess around and upgrade them and spend any more extra money on them. Now, a few things from 6 Cents. We got a few more 6 Cents crappie baits. This first one here is the Curly Clobber Grub. This is a really cool grub design. Crappie, I'm not a big-time crappie angler, so all this stuff is new and exciting to us. On the top, the body, it's almost kind of like a round body worm at the very top, but it is flat. So it has this big flat kind of fin on the bottom. So from a side profile, it does have that profile of a bait fish on there, but you don't have all that plastic on there. So when you can use a small jig head and you're going to get better action, it's going to sink a little bit quicker because you're not going to have all that bulky plastic on there. And then when the fish bites it, that little piece is going to fold up a lot easier to for fish to get that bait in their mouth and get a good hook set on them. With that flat side on there too, it's just going to help reflect off your forward-facing sonar. A lot of people use those for crappie fishing and dipping straight down with 10, 12-foot rods. That's going to help you see it on your sonar system. The next one we got here is their Pecos Underspin swim bait kit. So this is how they come in the package. They come one fully rigged, and they give you, I believe, yeah, 4 extra bodies on there. And everything is color matched. It's a really cool little swim bait. So they've color matched all the heads to the bodies on there. If you want to buy just the tails, you can buy just the tails as well. This one's actually designed by Josh Jones, you know, big time big bass guy out there in Texas. He catches a ton of giants out there at OHIV. He's also a crappie guy, so he's got years and years and years of crappie experience. And this was a little underspin design he came up with. A lot of detailing on the head. The hook on this bait, it's actually pretty stout little hook on there. It's not really going to bend out on you, so you can fish it on a little bit heavier line than you normally would. And if you guys want to use it for a little bit bigger fish, walleye, bass, you know, smallmouth, largemouth, whatever, you know, stuff like that. When they're really keyed in on those small little bait fish, I mean, we've experienced that at some of our lakes. Sometimes the bass will only bite a little bait that's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches long, and anything bigger, they won't even look at it. This is going to be deadly for those times. Little finesse swim bait, you know, wide body, super small pintail, just gets that little boot tail, just barely kicks, and then you get the action of that little blade on the bottom. So it's going to spin, vibrate, and just cause a little bit more commotion and flash in the water. If you're looking for something to maybe put on those baits from ProLine, we got a new attractant. So they got a whole series. So they have all the different flavors you ever want: anise, crawfish, garlic, shad, whatever you need. So if you're looking for something to kind of juice up those lures, that'll be a good option for you. So you can use this, you know, just spray it on when you're fishing, or you can spray it on your bait, spray it in all your bags of plastics. Let them sit overnight, marinate for a while, and really get infused in there. This is made out of all natural ingredients, and it's a super concentrated, potent formula. So be careful when you're pulling this out of the box, and don't mess around with it, because just pulling it out of the bag, we noticed it is a strong, strong scent. So something to just have in the box. You know, scent's always a good thing to add to your lures, especially when it's really, really cold. It can be the difference of just triggering a couple bites and going home empty-handed. Now we got a new Shaky head from Googan Baits. This is the Googan Slim Shake Shaky head. They made this Shaky head to match up perfectly with their Slim Shake worm, but you can use any, you know, 4 or 6 inch worm, whatever you want on there. This Shaky head is actually a tungsten composition. So, I mean, it's a tiny, compact Shaky head, but it's still 3/16 of an ounce. This one I got in my hand. So overall, a smaller profile, going to be good for those little small finesse worms. And then they got the screw lock keeper on there. I always like the Shaky heads of the screw locks. Just keeps everything nice and straight, easy to rig it on there. Doesn't tear up as much. You use a lot less worms, and you know, just save a few baits. Sticky, sharp hook. And on the bottom of that Shaky head, it does have a flat bottom. So when it does hit the bottom, it's always going to have a flat spot to keep that worm pointed right up in there. Really nice Shaky head there from Googan Baits. All right, a few more terminal pieces here from Spro. This first one here is their 3-way combo swivel. This is a really cool design, something interesting I've never seen before. So just a different take on the 3-way swivel. So it's basically 2 barrel swivels locked together. And what that's going to do for you is when you put your line, when you tie your leader line or whatever you want here on the swivel that's coming off at a 90, it's going to keep your line, you know, perfectly off at a 90-degree angle versus a 3-way swivel, which, you know, everything's kind of got an equal angle on it. So this is going to be really good for live bait fishing, freshwater or saltwater. Spro makes really, really strong stuff, and it's super small and compact. I believe these are about a 250-pound strength, and they're tiny little swivels. I use all Spro terminal on some of my big tuna stuff. I mean, you get a tiny swivel, and it's a 400-pound strength swivel, so they make really high-quality terminal. The next one here is a new ball bearing swivel, and it's got the split rings on it. So these are going to be good if you're building umbrella rigs, if you're building spinner baits, and you need swivels that have small split rings on them. Spro now has an offering for you on that as well. You know, ball bearing swivels just spin so much better than your regular barrel swivel. Also, you know, this time of the year, you're going through tackle. Maybe one of your umbrella rigs and one of your spinner baits is got a little rust on it. But you don't want to get rid of it. Just needs a new swivel and blade. This is a good option to pick up. Kind of bring new life into some of those baits that you got that you know, they don't need to be tossed. They just need to be outfitted with some new hardware on them, and you'll be good to go. Next one we got here is a new Nicoplier. So a lot of people are switching to the little tube style rings versus the traditional O-rings for their wacky rigs. And these are the tools that you need to apply those. Great little tool, $9.99. Can't beat it. Throw on the boat. Just much easier to apply. You know, even O-rings or those more tube style rings that a lot of people are switching to on their wacky rigs. So if you need one of those tools, Spro's got you covered. Easy to use. All right, from another thing from Spro, we got the new rod wraps. This is something over the last couple of years I find myself using more and more. Are these these rod straps? So say you're you're a co-angler or you're going to fish on the bank. I use these all the time. These rod straps, heavy duty. They have the hook and loop system all the way around the outside, so you can adjust them and snap them closed at any size you want. It doesn't matter if you want to go all the way around, maybe twice and just do 2 rods together, or you can get a whole bundle, 4 or 5 rods and strap them all together. Nice rubberized material on the inside. You don't have to worry about damaging any of your blanks or causing any damage to your rods. But invaluable tool, especially if you're co-angler. It's so much easier to have all your rods strapped together and transport them from your truck, put them in someone's boat, or when you're bank fishing and you're going down the bank, you're only using 1 rod at a time, and then just keeping everything bundled together. It's much easier to hike around than trying to grip all the rods together and everything's trying to come apart and get tangled on you. Last thing from Spro, their new secure liquid bait holder. Now this is something a bunch of us in the office are pretty excited to get our hands on. We do a lot of ocean perch fishing. We use a lot of those baits that come with, that come inside of a liquid like a Berkeley Gulp. This is something that you can transfer those baits into, and it's going to be completely secured and locked in, and you don't have to worry about the liquid spilling out. If you've ever used any of those style of baits, the bags can leak, the jars can crack open and spill. This is going to be a nice option. You can put a whole bunch of different baits in there, float them around in that liquid, and use them as you go, and then put them right back in. One thing I felt when I was opening and closing this, there's a notch in there, so when you get to that last portion, putting the lid back on, it kind of snaps and locks. So just a little bit of insurance that this lid's not going to back off when it's in your bag or your backpack or your tackle bag. It's not going to back out, and just that little notch in there is going to prevent that, so you don't spill those baits all over the place. Last up from Falcon, we got new lure wraps. This lure wrap I wanted to point out just because I think the design is awesome. On the inside, it's fully reinforced, it's clear, and it has that reinforcement on there, so it's going to hold up really, really well. A lot of times lure wraps wear out because they're just sitting in the sun all day long, and some of the cheaper ones, they get more flimsy, and hooks starting to poke through them, and they lose their durability over time. Not going to have that problem with these. And then that pull tab system. Just so much easier to open and close it with those 2 pull tabs that are kind of offset from each other. Get your hands on there versus trying to, fiddle with the Velcro, especially if you got a real strong hook and loop system. Sometimes they're a pain to open up, and then you always have the chance of, it snapping open and getting a hook in your hand. Just a really nice lure wrap there from Falcon. And they also came out with their new V4 series of tackle bags. So they've had the V6, which is their bigger model that holds like a 3,700 size box. Now they got a smaller option for you. So if you need a smaller bag that holds like a 3,600 size box, there's 2 different options. You can get one that's got boxes in it, or you can get just the tackle bag. Let me get it out of there. It comes with 4 nice Falcon boxes on there. But if you don't need the boxes, you can get just the bag. Or if you want boxes, it comes with 4 really nice boxes. They fit in there nice and secure. Got pockets on the inside, got a bunch of pockets around the outside. That reinforced plastic bottom on there, so you can set it on the bank or set it on wet surfaces in a buddy's boat, and you don't have to worry about water soaking in and getting everything wet on the inside. Just a nice feature. Small carrying handle, and the shoulder strap is a really nice bag if you need something a little bit on the smaller scale versus their bigger model that they already offer. That's going to wrap up today's episode of What's New at Tackle Warehouse. For more information or to purchase any of these products seen here today, click shop at the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this week's video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, let us know in the comments which one of these products you're most excited about.